everyone, welcome to this update video. I trust and hope that you are doing good today. So we're going to be talking about what is happening across the North Atlantic. So you've got a newly formed tropical storm Isaac. So Isaac is currently not a threat to land, but it is expected to strengthen to a hurricane. So the waters within the vicinity of it are warm enough to support strengthening over the coming days. So there's Isaac out there. There is Hurricane Helene, which is expected to make landfall tonight as a major hurricane in Florida. And then we can also see a portion of the Eastern Pacific. That's Tropical Storm John, which isn't far from hurricane intensity. So it previously made landfall as a major Cat 3, but it quickly weakened, dissipated, and reformed. So now it's going to be loitering along the southwest Mexican coast, dumping a lot of heavy rain and those very strong winds as well. And what we see there entering the Caribbean is a blob associated with a tropical wave. So that tropical wave has been around in that area for some time. So it has been influencing the weather, bringing some periods of thunderstorms and even some heavy downpours and potentially even some gusty winds. And we have disturbance 98L. That's Invest 98L, given a high 80% chance of formation. So it is likely to become a tropical depression very soon and eventually a named storm. And a new tropical wave is off of Africa. So in all, 6 tropical features on this map here. So let's zoom closer to the vicinity of the Caribbean. Here we can see Helene in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And so it looks as though it has been completed an eye wall replacement cycle. And sometimes when these cycles happen, there may be fluctuations in intensity. And after the cycle is complete, sometimes there's explosive intensification that takes place as well once the conditions are favorable. And there was a bit of dry air infiltrating the system, so let's see how it progresses throughout today. But nonetheless, impacts are going to be very dangerous and potentially catastrophic for Florida, and it's likely that Helene is going to grow in size some more, and as a result, impacts will be far from the center of the system. And even yesterday, while it was entering the Gulf, still in the northwestern Caribbean, it unleashed a lot of heavy rain in some areas. For parts of Jamaica, there was some flooding, especially in some of our southern parishes yesterday. You can let me know what happened in your area. And then as for the Lesser Antilles, there is going to be some additional heavy downpours as we head throughout today. So we're going to be looking at the rainfall forecast, then we'll talk more about our tropical cyclones. So let's go on to the rainfall forecast, and here we can see it for the region and beyond. We can see those very vibrant shadings towards the eastern Gulf associated with Helene. Rainfall amounts up to 5, maybe 6 inches, and that's going to be offshore for right now. So a part of the map is cut off, but we'll look at the U.S. in a bit more detail shortly. And then as we head to the Bahamas, northern Bahamas especially, there could be some periods of some showers and thunderstorms even. Similar thing possible for much of western Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and most of Jamaica. So for Jamaica, the rainfall activity is not quite done yet under the influence of Helene. And then for Central America, it's likely to be active there as well. And we can see some decent downpours in parts of Colombia, Venezuela, and through the Lesser Antilles, headed to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico in a few spots. So we can see that this map gets pretty colorful. We see these shades of yellows, oranges, reds popping up. So rainfall amounts probably amounting up to an inch or so throughout today. And then for the Guyanas, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana is going to be another dry and hot day. Not much rain expected at all in the area. ABC Islands, there could definitely be some showers around. Same thing for Hispaniola. So that is what is expected in terms of the rainfall forecast. And taking a closer look here at Helene, we can see that that eye wall really trying to get itself together, and it should gradually look better as the day progresses. And again, landfall is anticipated tonight. And one of the things that would kind of limit how strong the system gets in a sense is the rate at which it's going to be moving, because at one point it was moving so slowly, but now it's really starting to pick up in its acceleration to the north. So looking at the cone forecast, it has maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour, so it has been strengthening, and it's accelerating to the northeast at 12 miles per hour. Now that yellowish shading that you're seeing is the extent of tropical storm force winds, and then that brownish shading is the extent of those hurricane force winds. So we can see that the tropical storm force winds are far from the center, as I mentioned. So even though the system is now making its way away from the Caribbean and further into the Gulf, because the wind field is so expansive, those tropical storm conditions are likely still continuing in parts of Cuba, western Cuba, Isle of Youth, even the dry Tortugas of Florida, And much of the state, well, all the state of Florida is going to be feeling Helene in one way or another, but the worst of the impacts will be along the Big Bend area, going to the Panhandle where landfall is anticipated. And that tropical storm warning, it also extends for Georgia as well as South Carolina. Again, expansive hurricane, so it is pretty large. As a result, those impacts will be felt well away from the center. So storm surge probably up to 20 feet. That's 20 feet of coastal flooding caused by the winds of Helene pushing the Gulf waters onshore. Not only that, but the threat of tornadoes and even those very strong winds and the plethora of rainfall. As I said earlier, these impacts could be potentially catastrophic, and Helene is expected to make landfall as a major hurricane. So that is expected tonight. And as we go ahead and look at the rainfall forecast for the United States from Helene, we can see that in parts of the Florida Panhandle, there could be rainfall amounts up to 8 inches. We can see those orange shadings popping up. And elsewhere around for the Panhandle, where the system is going to be making landfall, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. And then it is going to be loitering around for a bit. So as it makes its way to the vicinity of the Carolinas, the western part of the Carolinas, we can see some of those more vibrant shadings popping up there. So rainfall amounts probably exceeding 12, and even if you isolate spots of 16 inches in rainfall, it's going to be slowing down and hence dumping a lot more rain at that time as we head into tomorrow afternoon and even into Saturday. So that is what is expected, guys. Hopefully everyone has taken the necessary precautions and are getting ready to ride out the storm. Moving on to our next tropical cyclone, Tropical Storm Isaac. So Isaac formed late last night, and as you can see, it's out there. It's not a bother for anyone right now. Well offshore the U.S., well offshore Bermuda, and it is going to be strengthened over the coming days. So Isaac is currently sustaining winds of 50 miles per hour and moving to the east at 12 miles per hour. Now that H is seen as representative of hurricane intensity, so the waters in the vicinity of the storm and even ahead of it are going to be warm enough to support strengthening. So Isaac is likely to become a hurricane, but it will eventually weaken back to a tropical storm and a post-tropical cyclone and eventually dissipate out there. So that is the latest on that. And then for Invest 98L, still given that very high formation chance of 80%. So the next name on the list after Isaac is Joyce. So this could be future Joyce that we're looking at here. And it's going to be moving a little bit to the west, but then a curve is anticipated. So it's not likely to enter the Caribbean. So of course I'll keep you guys posted on it just the same. So that is what is going on right now in regards to these systems, guys. And of course I'll keep you posted as per usual. So that is essentially what I wanted to share with you in this updated video, and I really do hope you found it to be very informative. However, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I'll respond to you when I have the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.